where they murdered the boys will never lie to you. This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Canada.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizens.
Oh, I have a real fun topic this week.
A humdinger, would you say?
I believe so. It's a real humdinger. This humdinger posted by our humdinger provider-in-chief, Z Synergy Mansfield, doing that work in the Discord.
It's a title that we're workshopping. Humdinger provider-in-chief. It doesn't quite roll off the tongue the way we'd like.
Yeah, the sign over the door is a little lengthy, I'll be honest. Yeah.
Hey, if you'd like to suggest a story, you can absolutely do so. We have concernshow@gmail.com. We've got a subreddit that we never check. We have social media, and if you talk to us on it, we'll scream. But the best way to do it is over in our Discord, and to join that, just head to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns.
So this is a math story, and it's fascinating to me. It's not something I've never encountered before. But I'm gonna
math.
Yeah, what is that?
As an as an ex-actor and now house husband,
That's
I've
right. never. What is this math you speak of? As a science podcaster, never seen it, never heard of it.
I've never seen math, and my hands are so soft from never doing a day of physical work.
That's right, but my vocal cords are supple.
Oh, they're so warmed up.
Anthony, you like a D&D, you like a tabletop board game.
I do.
I would like you to imagine, if you will, 2 D6s, your average 6-sided die, the most conventional cube. You can imagine a 6-sided die.
The way you're describing them already makes me feel like you've loaded them and you're cheating. And I know there aren't even real die. And I know it's not even about that.
Completely normal. You can weigh them in your hands. You can see they're
you
totally.
You count the sides with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 6.
Everything is possible with these. No, they're normal 6-sided die, exactly the same size. Could you, Anthony? Could
I
bore a hole through one of them to pass the other cleanly through?
Oh, we're in Mr. Wizard territory now.
I love this.
We're in Bill Nye territory now.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's a trick. There's a trick to it. I love when there's a trick to it.
Yeah. But your intuition probably says that makes no damn sense.
Yeah, please. It says that makes no sense. And surely that's done with mirrors.
Well, we can imagine, let's say a big rectangle, like a 2x4. You can imagine rotating that on its end and being able to stuff the tiny part through the wider part, right? So you can imagine some shape that was exactly the same. If you had 2 2x4s and you rotated 190 degrees, you could just slide it right through, right?
Yes.
So you can imagine some shapes, but 2 dice, 2 cubes, they make our intuition go, that doesn't make sense, but it actually is possible. And this kind of ties into what we were talking about in our little pre-show. You can listen to the whole conversation about that if you become a patron on patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. But this is a fella. There's a fella in the late 1690s by the name of Prince Rupert. Prince Rupert was the nephew of Charles I in England. He actually lived in Windsor Castle, which I was telling you I visited. Visited Windsor Castle. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just recently. And this dude was one of our favorite types of people. Gentleman scientist.
I love it.
He was Prince Rupert. He had to do fuck all of it for his life. All he had was free time.
There was no job for him, so he had to figure out a way to do something.
So he sat around in Windsor Castle in this laboratory he had there, studying metallurgy and glass making. He was a real, a real scamp, real curious fella.
Okay.
And so he got into this argument with somebody whose name has not survived history, but he got into an argument with somebody. A wager was laid about this whole problem of, could you bore a hole through one die and fit the other? Yeah. And Prince Rupert won the bet because he showed that if you, let's say you take 2 die, this is an audio show, but I'm going to try to paint a picture for you. take 2 die. If you hold it so that it casts a shadow on a table,
Yeah.
you hold the die in a normal, configuration, it would cast a square shadow. But if you rotate the second die so that one of its vertices, one of the points on the cube, is pointed up, the shadow that it casts is actually a hexagon. And you can pass a square through a hexagon.
So we're talking about, in order to do this, you could rotate one of the cubes in such a way that you could drill a hole at the exact right angle.
That's right.
To push a cube of the same size through.
That's right. It's exactly right. And all you would have to do is point one of those vertices sort of down or up. So reorient the cube so that it casts that hexagon shadow. And then all of a sudden there's room to bore a straight hole through it where it passes cleanly through. In fact, it can actually fit a cube that is up to 4% larger than the first cube through it.
Okay. So what we're talking about is when you say drill a hole through a die and pass another die through it, we immediately think of a hole that goes straight through one face of a cube. But what you're saying is that this hole, if I rotate this in my brain the way you're saying, we're talking about a hole that is drilled through like 4 sides.
Right. At least.
We're talking about, like, when you're looking at it from the front, it looks like you're drilling into 4 sides, and the center of your hole is going to be one of the points, one of the vertices.
That's right.
Of all of those sides coming together.
That's exactly right. So you're boring through that vertice, boring through the center, and coming out another vertice at the other side. Yeah, so it works. So Rupert wins the bet. And 1693.
What kind of a drill do you have to use? What kind of precision does Prince Rupert have to have?
Hey, man, it's good to be the king's nephew.
Yeah.
You know?
So I imagine, now I'm thinking about how I would do it. You have to put the die in a vise.
Yeah.
You've got to get a big enough drill bit to drill the initial hole. And then I would use, I guess, some sort of maybe a rotary tool.
Sure.
A Dremel.
Yeah.
Did
kids,
they
you
have
can
a
do this
Dremel
at
in
home.
the 1600s?
Yeah, kids, you can do this at home with your own home Dremels.
Yeah. You can get a Dremel. You can get a Dremel for $20 now. Kids, hey, kids, if there are any children listening, and there aren't, but if there are, a couple things. Number 1, it's not a gateway drug. You can just use it. Number 2, get a Dremel. They're so useful.
Yeah. By the time you're 30, you should have 6 friends that are millionaires.
If the people in your network aren't discussing how it's not a gateway drug and how you should own a Dremel. So Prince Rupert sat at home and did this.
We don't know if he actually drilled the thing or if he just proved it in the abstract, but
Coward. If he didn't drill it, if he just proved it in the abstract, I would never give him the money.
That's me too. And the guy that made the bet is not an abstract thinking kind of dude. You know? The dude down at the pub who was like, I'll take that bet, Rupert. That dude was not gonna take
like,
some.
No,
kind
look, I proved it because the shadow looks like this. Fuck you, Rupert. Drill the hole.
Yeah. What are you?
You're literal royalty.
What did you leave your Dremel at home, Rupert? And the Windsor Castle?
Oh, don't leave your Dremel at home. By the time you're 30, you should know not to leave your Dremel at home. But
That's
also, like, you've got money, Rupert. What did we bet? It's the 1600s, so we probably bet like a pound at the most.
Yeah, but that was a king's ransom.
That's what I'm saying. It's like a pound. And like for me, a pound is like a month's worth of work. For you, it's like you've just got 70 of them. Just give me a pound if all you're going to do is prove it with a shadow, Rupert. So anyway, Prince Rupert invented the Dremel that day.
No, so this property had become known as the Rupert property. People started wondering what other polyhedrons actually have this property. Well, of course, we know, as I sort of said at the beginning, oblong stuff, real long rectangles and stuff like that. Super easy. Again, just rotate them 90 degrees, slide them right through.
Yeah.
But
Thin
these
side goes through fat side.
exactly, thin side goes through fat side. But these sort of convex polyhedra, these shapes, particularly symmetrical ones, highly symmetrical shapes, are they were curious how many of these actually worked like this, had the Rupert property.
I want you to know that one of the ways that intelligence is tested and IQ is tested is the ability to rotate three-dimensional shapes in your mind. I want you to know that I love that invariably, about once every 3 months, you bring a story to the podcast that requires the most visual thinking.
It's true.
You bring a story to the podcast that requires the most visual aids.
You know what it is? It's my overconfidence that my verbal skills will do the job, Anthony. I'm gonna be able to describe this so well.
One day we'll release it. There's an episode that I have on a hard drive where Jeff brought something so visual that it ends in me screaming at him.
Yeah.
And we could not release the episode.
You were not happy with me.
I was not happy with that episode because I was like, what are you saying to me right now?
Well,
so anyway, what I want you all to do right now is just imagine every polyhedron that Jeff is about to bring up.
Well, here's the thing.
And then you've got to rotate another polyhedron through it in your mind. And this was such a problem. This is such a problem to do that there's a theorem named after a man who was able to do it.
That's right. That's right.
And all you have to do is the same thing.
All you have to do is
repeatedly during this episode.
No, just take my word for it that what they started finding, like in the 1960s, the late 1960s. So this, we just thought there was a whole bunch of these things that you couldn't do that with. And, there's all these are convex polyhedra. So these are, there's not ones that have, swooping insides or circular stuff. It's all these kind of ball shapes.
Yeah.
But that have, lots of vertices. So people thought the dodecahedron maybe wouldn't work like this. And by the way, my favorite part about this is they've come up with a wonderful portmanteau to tell you whether it is a Rupert or not. They call the ones that are not Noperts. Noperts. So
Noperts.
Nope, and Rupert. Noperts.
Right. Not Newperts.
No.
But Noperts.
Anyway, so
for those of you, I'm just going to do this real quick for people who are, video patrons. I don't know if you can see this, Jeff.
Oh, that's what's left after you pass one cube through another cube.
This is Prince Rupert's cube with the hole cut in it. And what you're basically seeing here is like, yeah, you got to cut through it in such a clever way that what you're left with are like these two angled walls and then almost a ceiling and a floor. And that's what's left of the cube. It's
Cool,
very
right?
strange.
It's strange, but you can sort of see it, Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so people thought, there's probably lots of, these convex polyhedrons that, are Noperts that don't work. And like, a dodecahedron, this truncated isosahedron, which is basically like a soccer ball.
Mm-hmm.
People thought, it doesn't work. And then in the 60s, 1968, this fellow named Christoph Scriba, he proved that the tetrahedron, the octahedron, and almost every other shape that he could find actually does have the Rupert property.
So you're saying any shape, no matter how crazy complicated,
yes,
you can take that same shape, another object that's that exact same size and shape, and there is a way to cut a hole that will pass two objects of the same size and shape through one another.
That's right. And in fact, the thing that's so fascinating to me is
I'm picturing it right now, Jeff, is wrong.
Listen to this. The pendulum swings from it's really rare to have the Rupert property all the way over to is there even a shape that doesn't have the Rupert property?
Whoa.
So mathematicians and scientists get all the way over to the other end of, wait a minute, maybe every convex polyhedron has the Rupert property. We got to disprove this rather than proving it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So, okay, but here's my other thing that I have to ask about this. Is this just being studied by like really high mathematicians?
It's got to be, right?
Like,
I mean,
what's the point? I understand. I hate being the guy who asks on these episodes, what's the point? But
Yeah.
I do wonder if this is this a fun thing that mathematicians like to do, or
Yes.
is this something that they're proving for a reason?
Well, this is the thing, is that I tend to bring the stories where it's like, this is a neat thing in the abstract, but yeah, there's really very little practical application here. It's just a fun feature of the physical world that I find counterintuitive and therefore fascinating.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure if this was something where it's like, if we solve this, we get this from it.
I mean, maybe this is the key to something. I don't know.
Can I tell you what I think it's this is what my brain tells me that it helps with. And, you can just tell me if this doesn't feel right to you, but it feels right to me. Gates.
Yeah, I do think that it's like, Rupert principle, something, 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 Stargate. You know what I mean?
Like for some reason, it feels like the fact that any polyhedron can pass through any polyhedron that's the same size and shape, something, Stargate, right?
Yeah, I think we're on that path, clearly. Yeah.
Like, it just feels to me like you do this, something, Stargate.
I mean, I'm crossing my fingers. And
then James Spader is in Egypt Alien.
That's right. So they start going, start testing these and this again is one of those kind of, as you pointed out, kind of diversions. It's people in their spare time. And there's a lot of these sort of candidates for Noperts, people that haven't found it yet. But the problem is that you can position two shapes, the same shape, two copies of the same shape. You can position them in infinite angles, right?
Yes.
There's no end to that. So even though for a lot of these shapes, it's like, well, we haven't found it yet, but we can't rule it out completely.
Right. You might think that you've twisty turned this shape as much as possible, but if you turned it 100th or 1,000th.
Exactly.
What's like the, do you have any literature in front of you on what like the craziest rotation is?
Yes. So there's this one called the Triachus tetrahedron that the margin of how it fits through is 0.000002.
Holy shit.
Time. That's 6 zeros after the decimal point of rotation difference.
Hey man, how did they do this before computers and 3D animation?
Well, they didn't. That's why in 1692, the guy's like, I proved the cube. And then everybody's like, nothing until 1968.
Right. And then it's like, well, we've built this computer. It takes up an entire room and it runs on reel-to-reels and punch cards. And somebody's like, great, it's time to try a dodecahedron.
Let's Rupert this shit.
We're going to Rupert the shit out of this computer.
Yeah.
It feels like the sort of thing, if I'm honest, it feels like the sort of thing that you could use to like test processing power or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah, folding at home type deal.
Yeah, where it's just like, let's see if we can shut down this fucking computer by trying to make it pass one of these shapes through another shape. Yeah. So I brought up something here, and one of the things that I want to say about Prince Rupert's Cube is there are so many shapes that have classifications that I was not aware of until looking at these articles and this material about Prince Rupert's Cube. Like, now I'm aware there are things called the Catalan solids, and there are 13 of them.
Oh boy.
And 11 of the 13 Catalan solids are known to have a Rupert property.
Sick.
But only 87 of the 92 Johnson solids have the Rupert property. And I think we all know which of the Johnson solids doesn't have a Rupert property.
Sure.
We can all think of the troublemakers. It's obviously the gyrate rhombocosidecahedron.
Yes. I mean,
right?
You stole it. I was going to say that.
And the parabigyrate rhomboisocadecahedron. Right? Like we all knew that. And then
Sure.
say the third one with me, Jeff. The metabigyrate rhomboisocadecahedron.
Yes, of course. We
all knew that.
Yes. Well, so
Jeff, that's too many shapes. We have too many shapes.
So cut to August of this year. These two amateur dudes, 130, 129, again, both of them right at the age where you should have your own Dremel.
Mm-hmm.
Steininger and Yurkovic, two buddies. These buddies. They're amateur scientists, amateur mathematicians, carrying forward that gentleman scientist tradition to the modern age. They met as buddies, teenagers in the mathematics Olympiad.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
These are my people. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
They're not your people. I mean, we love them, but they're not our people.
No, I'm not. I couldn't keep up, but
we wouldn't be there, but I love them.
Cheer them on from afar.
Yeah, I'm excited for their story.
Indeed. So Steininger and Yurkovic posted an article, a scientific paper, claiming to have discovered the first absolutely provable Nopert.
Whoa.
They figured it out. So they came up with a brand new way of testing that sort of deals with this problem of the infinite rotation thing, where it's like, well, we can't. Basically, we're just sort of brute forcing this, where it was just like, tell the computer to put it in every possible variation and see what we can get.
Yes.
Which, works, but takes forever and doesn't give you an absolute answer. So these guys went, hey, we can do this in a smarter way. And they wrote a little algorithm that says that, hey, if we position these two shadows, stay with that metaphor, and one of the sides, one of the vertices sticks out over the edge of the shadow, knowing that, hey, well, we haven't found this Rupert hole, right? You can't stick it through because it sticks out. Previously, in our brute force argument, that would be like, well, that position doesn't work. Let's keep trying. But they went, okay, look at how far the edge sticks out. We can make some assumptions here. We know that it sticks out that far. That means that all the positions along the route of how that far that sticks out are also invalid. So we can start chunking this. We can start creating these blocks of positions that says, hey, we can test this one position, and based on what we see here, we can rule out all this whole other range of positions.
Oh, work smarter, not harder, they say.
That's right. So they start chunking it. They call this the global theorem. So they have this sort of these global.
It's kind of a big name to give to something that's about rotating paper cubes. I'm just gonna say it. Like, if you're gonna call it like the global theorem,
they call it the unified theory of everything.
You gotta calm down, Yurkovic. You gotta chill the fuck out, my guy.
But so this is great, right? This lets them rule out large sections and sort of rule out shapes much quicker. The problem is there are also other positions where the little edge barely sticks out, and it still barely sticks out when you move it slightly, and it still barely sticks out when you move it. So you're reducing a lot of the testing on the sort of large side, but on the small scale, you're still screwed.
Okay.
So they came out with what they call their local theorem, which is they've decided.
See, they already used up the global theory.
That's right.
And then when they came out with the one that actually solved things, it was done. They already used it, and they had to go smaller. That's why you don't start out with a name like the global theory.
That's right. Yeah. Manage expectations. Yeah, I think that's the takeaway here.
That's the thing. Like, I understand wanting to take a big swing.
Sure. But you under promise, over deliver, guys. Come on.
That's the thing.
So what they determined was you could actually take this little, imagine this little, these little vertices that are popping out over the edge of our shadow. If you take any three of the vertices and you draw a triangle, create a triangle between them,
Yeah.
the edge of the triangle has to overlap the center point of the shape you're trying to go through, or it's not going to work anyway.
Okay.
So now there is a new criteria that they can judge these large swaths with. It's like, well, that you draw a line, make that triangle, the line doesn't go over the center line, it doesn't matter anyway. So we can rule out large chunks.
Okay.
So now they're able to test these shapes that have sort of been in the, in the maybe category, and maybe they're Noperts. We don't know for sure. And they're able to rule them out, looking for a Nopert. And it also allows them to go, okay, now we're able to actually work backwards and start making a shape that fits the criteria that we have.
So they are going to create, instead of hunting and hunting and hunting through all these known shapes and trying to see which one doesn't have the Rupert theory, they said, no, we've created the math to create the shape that will not have the Rupert, like the Rupert property. We're just going to make the shape ourselves. It's easier to make the shape than it is to disprove it through every shape that we know.
That's exactly right.
I like these guys. I like these guys.
Guess what, Anthony?
What?
You can 3D print one right now. The Noperthedron.
The Noperthedron.
That's right. Why does the chat never work? I'm going to send you the picture. Where is it?
Wait, I got it. Hold on.
Noperthedron can be 3D printed right now. You can download the thing to have the one shape that we've ever discovered in the history of humankind that you cannot pass through itself no matter how you rotate it.
Can I tell you it's a very unassuming shape for what I was picturing?
It looks like a lovely vase.
It does look like a lovely vase. Do you know what I would do is I would print out a Noperthedron and I would use it to hold plants, and I'd be like, that's the most mathematically complicated vase that you can make.
That's right. That's a flex, baby.
That vase laughs at the global theory, is what I would say.
So
it basically looks like...
It's like a bulbous, kind of flat-topped and bottomed...
it looks like you cut the top off a pineapple a bit.
Yeah.
Like a video game pineapple. It looks like when they tried to render a perfect circle or a perfect sphere on like the PlayStation 1 or the N64.
Right. That's right.
But up at the top, instead of having the top part of the top third of the sphere, it actually has like kind of a sharper angle that turns into what looks like the top of a vase. It's kind of fascinating. I would imagine it's the vase top that keeps it from happening.
The thing that's crazy to me is that like this is the only shape, and it's not a kind of bizarre outside the box kind of shape. It's a very unassuming kind of normal looking shape, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
I was expecting something that was like that had all these crazy sides and protrusions and points and something where it's like, man, no matter how we turn this, it's too spiky a shape.
Well, it's symmetrical. It's actually the Noperthedron is made of 150 triangles, two regular 15-sided polygons. So it's got a lot of angles.
Sure.
And it don't work. So these guys, Steininger and Yurkovic, they have tested this thing. They divided the perimeter space, those blocks, into 18 million tiny blocks, tested the center point of each block. It passes all of the criteria. They produced a Rupert passage.
Wow.
Sorry, it does not produce it does not, produce a Rupert package.
I would have thought that it would have been the paragyrate diminished rhomboicosodecadahedron.
Sure, we all would. Yeah. I mean, that's what I had down on my bingo card.
Yeah. Or, like the deltoidal hexacontahedron. That's what I would have thought. But the fact that they created their own shape for it,
The Noperthedron.
that's cool, man. That's cool. Where it's
So
like,
cool.
if the problem can't be solved, we'll just create the solution for the problem.
That's right. If we know the criteria that makes the problem that creates the problem, we can work backwards and reverse engineer the solution. That's so badass.
That's so dope.
And it's just these two amateur dudes. Like, neither of them are professional mathematicians. They're just like they saw this thing about Rupert and they both were like, this is interesting. Let's work on it in our spare time. Just two dudes, 29 and 30 years old, just interested, not professional scientists. I love it.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, what's crazy, Jeff, is they are just a couple of lovable hobos.
That's right.
They were hopping trains, and they had bindles, and they were doing 3-card Monte on the street.
Yeah.
And stealing pies. They were stealing pies that were cooling on windowsills.
They had all the money they made was wagering people about this whole dice thing.
That's right. And they said to themselves one day, they ran into some mathematicians that were having a spirited discussion at the local pub.
That's right.
And they said, well, this ain't too hard. We can solve this. Big fancy mathematicians.
Yeah. They were standing around their flaming barrel and sharing a can of bean.
That's right.
And
a single bean. They had sliced it so thin. And I think that's why they were able to do it. Is they had sliced beans so thin so many times.
So many times. Can I want to go off on a quick tangent.
Yeah, please do.
I had this conversation last night because you said that slicing the bean thin, which is clearly a cartoon reference.
Yes.
And last night my daughter was having a hard time sleeping, and so I introduced the concept of counting sheep to her. It was very adorable because then she came out of her room. She's like, Daddy, I counted sheep and I'm still not asleep. And I said, how many did you count? She said, 20. It was very cute. But I asked my wife because I had this revelation.
Did that ever work for you?
No, it never worked for me. I never even did it, but I knew of it as a thing, and it just popped into my head to tell my daughter as just to like occupy your brain until you
go away,
asleep.
Child.
But my question was, yes, that's what you want at 9 p.m. Go away, child. I had one of those moments where like things that I'd always assumed in my life, I questioned for the first time. And that was when someone says count sheep. Again, this is another mental visual thing, but what do you imagine?
Oh, I imagine the counting sheep the way I saw it in cartoons,
That's right.
which is they're jumping over a little fence in a pasture.
That's right.
And
that's how I imagine it too. I asked my wife. That's how she imagined it too.
And then eventually one of them turns into a monster or the bad guy that I'm thinking of, right. Or an alarm clock. One of them turns into an alarm clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how I always imagine it, is like one sheep leaping over the next sheep leaping over. But I had this moment of revelation that perhaps it seems more likely that it started as, imagine a field full of sheep.
Yes.
Count them.
Yeah, how many sheep are in a field? Yeah.
That's right, because that's
how many stars are in the sky.
What a shepherd would actually do. But like, I think all of us of a certain generation imagine the dumb sheep leaping over a fence one at a time.
Yeah, because of the Looney Tunes.
Because of the Looney Tunes. And that's how I also imagine slicing up a bean.
Well, that's also how I imagine fitting two shapes that are the same size into one another, as I picture pulling out like an Acme portable hole.
Yeah. Oh, totally. This is a total portable hole application right here.
That's why I keep thinking something Stargate. Like, I genuinely, like, it is a bit, but it's not a bit. When you were like, you pass these two things that are the same size through one another. I've talked before about one of the first fun science tricks that I ever saw. I've talked about it on the show, which was a Mr. Wizard thing, which was cut a hole in an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper big enough to fit a person through.
Yeah.
And the way you do it is you fold the paper in such a way and you cut slits into it. So where you open it up, you've cut the paper into like a thin ribbon.
Right.
That's huge enough to step through as a person. And that's why when you brought this up, I was like, ooh, I can't wait for this. I fucking love this shit.
Yeah. Oh, me too. That's why I think it conjures Stargate and stuff like that is because what it seems to me you're doing with, taking this 3-dimensional thing and casting a shadow and then passing it through the shadow is you're using 2 dimensions to fuck with 3 dimensions.
Yes.
You're messing with dimension, and it feels like you do that one more dimension removed, and now we're in Stargate territory.
Something Stargate.
That's right. You use 3 dimensions to fuck with 4 dimensions. Now we're traveling through time, baby.
That's right. And then the spatiotemporal police are after you and all kinds of stuff.
It's complicated.
Something that I find interesting about this is the ability to prove these things, do these things. You were talking about how complicated it was. I found something here that says the physical construction of a Prince Rupert's cube is challenging because of the accuracy with which the model needs to be measured and the thinness of the connections between the remaining parts of the unit. So for those of you that saw, when I was talking about these 2 walls and this ceiling, the bits of the cube that are left come together in these very thin points because you have to fit the other cube through it. And
not a lot of wiggle room on the edges. Yeah.
Not a lot of wiggle room. And they were saying that for the maximally sized inner cube, constructing a model is mathematically impossible, but practically impossible. For the example of using 2 cubes of the same size, model construction is possible, right? But in a 1950 survey of the problem, this guy Max Schreck, I would imagine from Batman Returns, published photographs of a model of a cube passing through a hole in another cube, and he was like, "Chip, come here. I've made a cube go through another cube. It's crazy." And you can get paper templates for making models of the cube passing through the other cube. But what's crazy is to account for the tolerances of paper construction, you actually can't do 1-to-1 the same size. It's got to be a little smaller. Otherwise, you're going to tear the paper. And what they say in this article is that it's only since the advent of 3D printing that the construction of a Prince Rupert cube in the full 1-to-1 ratio has become easy enough for the average person to do.
Cool. That's cool.
There was so even building this physically, doing it and proving it, above and beyond totally using the shadow, was incredibly complicated to do until the advent of 3D printing.
It's a wild function of geometry to me. It's just it's wild that this is the case. It's the thing that is so captivating about this story for me is that it's hard to find other things where it went from, is this possible at all, to, is there anything where this isn't possible? That pendulum swing from no way, it beggars my intuition, all the way to no, this is ubiquitous. You can't get away from it, is wild to me.
It's nuts. And one of the things that makes it blow my mind even more as I'm looking now, and you're talking about we're fucking with 3 dimensions. Buddy, there are theories that prove that n-dimensional hypercubes have the Rupert property. An n-dimensional hypercube.
Hell yeah. By the way, I saw n-dimensional hypercubes at Coachella, and they were amazing.
Yeah, so we're talking about you've probably seen a 3-dimensional thing of a 3-dimensional model of a tesseract, right? It's the cube with the smaller cube inside of it, and then the inside cube becomes the outside cube, and an n-dimensional hypercube, a tesseract, does have the Rupert property.
Hell yeah.
What is that?
It does.
That means a 4th-dimensional tesseract of the same size of a 4th-dimensional tesseract can pass
it's inside,
through.
Baby.
That doesn't mean anything to me. That doesn't mean anything.
That's a Stargate right there. That's
We're stargating now. The other thing that this has brought to my attention is the entire field of recreational mathematics.
I know. So rad. So rad.
I was aware of mathletes and math competitions, and then we have a friend of the show, Dr. Brian Weck, Ninja Brian from Ninja Sex Party. He participates in these like weekly and monthly like little science competitions that are done over the internet with other scientists. And he's invited me to participate in one or two of them before, and I was very outclassed, but it was fun to be a part.
So cool.
Yeah, but the idea that there is an entire field of just recreational mathematics that above and beyond these like student competitions or professional competitions that we think of exist, and things like the Rupert property are things that are studied and under something that's called like it would fall under like either the games or mathemagics.
Mathemagics.
Yeah, so they have like mathematical games, mathematical puzzles, and then mathemagics are in these sort of like recreational math things. Mathemagics are magic tricks that are based on mathematical principles.
Like a self-working card trick.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So there's stuff like that. And then, you know, your mathematical puzzles are like your logic puzzles, you know, ciphers and code breaking and things like that. I can barely do math in my head.
Yeah.
Any math in my head. I still sometimes, when I multiply things by 9, do the finger trick.
Yeah.
You know? Like I can't I unfortunately I've never been good at math in my head, and I've never been good. Once you get into this particular sort of math where you get into like calculus and like heavy algebraic stuff, I am left in the dust.
Me too. That's one of the reasons that I transferred out of computer science major and into theater, because I was in calculus and going
not
like,
just less math. No math.
No math. I made
all
a hard
feeling.
Right turn.
No logic. All feeling.
Right. Oh, wait a minute. What? No. I'm going to go figure out what spirit animal I am.
Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna say to myself, if this character was a tree, what kind of tree would they be?
That's right. What color am I currently right now? That's what right. I'm going to ask. Yeah.
Lately, I have been trying to get more into math because I do now, as an adult, have more of that feeling of you have a natural proclivity for things, but I don't believe, like, you know, outside of something like dyscalculia or dyslexia or something like that, you probably don't have an actual disadvantage that keeps you from learning this, other than the fact that you did not have an aptitude for it and you find it challenging. And because you found it challenging your whole life, you have not built up any sort of skill set for it. Now, as somebody who's a little bit older, it's obviously harder to build that skill set because I've spent so much of my life figuring out ways to think around using math.
Right.
That actually using math now is very hard for brain. But I have been trying to do it lately. And I will say I started again from pre-algebra. And I've been working my way up because what I really want to do is I really want to learn more about like the more intense like physics sort of sciences.
Yeah.
Because that stuff I find theoretically, I find the theory of it very interesting, you know?
Yeah.
And whenever I read things like Arrow of Time and stuff like that, I'm always very like, well, I want to know more about, like, I love understanding the surface of this, but I do want to know a little bit more about the underpinnings. Have I bitten off way more than I can chew, Jeffrey? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I got halfway through. I got this big, thick pre-algebra workbook for teens.
Wow.
Ostensibly.
Wow.
It's this big.
No weird looks when you picked that one up at the store?
What if you went and you bought a book for your kid at the store? Do you get weird looks?
That's true, I guess.
Creep.
I'm just getting this for my teens. Teens.
This is just for teens that I know, and I'm not in a weird way.
In case any teens come over, I want to have this available.
Yeah. When teens come over, I want to make sure they're only doing math.
I am actually having a similar experience just because I'm the father of a fourth grader who's actually, Jack is pretty into math, and he likes
that kid's gonna run circles around you. And
already does. He likes doing, he's one of those kids. It's really cool. He's one of those kids where, you get a few numbers and you need to add them up. He's like, no, wait, Dad, let me see if I can do it in my head. Like he likes the challenge of it. So that's pretty cool. And we try to figure stuff out together.
Gonna give your kid such a fucking wedgie.
When he comes over, you're gonna lure him with your math for teens.
That's
book.
right. I'm gonna be like, look at this cool math workbook I bought. And then when he gets over, I'm gonna be like, nerd. No, but
Uncle Anthony did it again. I know, son. I'm sorry.
I know, and you keep falling for it. And he's like, but he keeps bringing out more and more elaborate math notebooks.
they look so interesting, Dad. I know. I'm sorry, son.
No, but I have this pre-algebra big workbook for youths, and got like a quarter of the way into it, and I was like, yeah, I'm an adult. I'm an adult. And then I got like a quarter of the way into the book, and I was like, oh, I got that wrong. How did I get? Oh, I got all these wrong. Oh, okay. So I'm fundamentally misunderstanding all of this. Oh, okay.
It looked so right when I filled out all these blanks.
I did the last chapter. In the last chapter, I was firing on all cylinders. Everything was cool, and I understood it. It was all right. And then this one, all wrong. Okay.
It's the real problem is those chapter breaks, those pesky chapter breaks.
It's those pesky chapter breaks. It's the real problem is they keep introducing new concepts.
That's right. I'm fine with the first third of the book.
That's right. If math would just be based on one concept, then we'd really have something. This is cool.
You know what else annoys me about this story, Anthony?
What's that?
Is that as I was telling you, I just went to Windsor Castle. We took the tour. And I saw all the cool weapons and the armor and the china and it was a lot of beautiful stuff. You know what I did not see? Prince Rupert's fucking laboratory.
It's there?
I don't. They said that's where it was in this article.
There?
Show me it.
Can you go see?
That's my point is that I don't let's preserve that room. Show me that room on the tour. I don't need to see another king bedroom where they helped him get into the giant Thor poster,
Yeah.
Show me the lab where he was doing metallurgy and glass making as a gentleman scientist. Show me that.
When I look up Prince Rupert tours, it's all Prince Rupert Canada adventure tours.
Yeah.
Which I don't think Prince Rupert would approve of.
He was a very eclectic guy. Sometimes he went to Canada and went on adventures, I don't know.
Yeah, I would love to see stuff like that. And if I would love to see his dice. I would love to see Prince Rupert's dice.
Prince Rupert's shadow casting dice.
Yeah. I think the problem is, Jeff, we want to see things that maybe like other tourists don't really care about.
Possible. I had to see a freaking dollhouse. I mean, it was an impressive dollhouse, but
what dollhouse did you see?
There's a famous Queen Elizabeth's dollhouse.
Oh, really?
Famous. There's a huge line to see the dollhouse.
Really?
Oh yeah, at Windsor Castle. Yeah.
How many dimensions are the dollhouse?
Man, it's not a freaking Noperthedron. You know what I'm saying?
So it's just the regular 3-dimensional dollhouse?
Yeah, I don't know if you could fit it through itself. I didn't ask.
Does it even do this weird Tesseract thing?
Look how cool that is.
Does the dollhouse even do this weird Tesseract thing where the cube passes through the cube and it's still a cube?
No, man.
All
it's just
right.
a dollhouse.
Well, seems like you got took. There, I'm just gonna say it. It seems like you got took and you saw all the worst stuff. Hey, I know that we have people that are way smarter than us that listen to this show. If you're somebody who participates in mathemagics, and fun recreational maths, please let us know and tell us what kind of stuff that you do. We would love to see recreational maths and go, ooh, like the dummies that we are. We can't participate.
No, we will add nothing of value, but we will point and smile.
That's right. If you've ever wanted to show off your mediocre math skills to somebody who's like the village idiot, and you just wanted to see us clap and smile like you pulled a coin from our ear. The best way to do it is to join our Discord, and you can do that over at patreon.com/wehaveconcerns.
So easy. It's so easy. $1 a month gets you access to the Discord. It also supports the show and makes sure it continues. And if you have a little extra scratch, boy, would we love for you to up your donation over on the Patreon. You get cooler stuff when you get higher up, including those beginnings of the episodes that you hear us talking right when the show starts. You get video. You get all kinds of cool goodies. Patreon.com/wehaveconcerns.